The SKY was awake, and so was the forest. Anna of Arundel hugged her cloak tight as the bare branches clacked like teeth above her and the wind tugged at her braids. She peered into a bush. As far as she knew, bushes weren't supposed to have eyes. But then again, 5-year-old princesses weren't supposed to be alone outside the castle at night, either. And yet here she was, although Anna hadn't started off the night alone. Her sister, Elsa, was somewhere out here in the snowy woods, too. Possibly hiding in the very bush that Anna tiptoed closer to at this moment. 3 years older than Anna, with wide blue eyes and a shy smile, Elsa was the kind of girl who could sit for hours without swinging her legs and whose tidy white blonde plait always hung straight down her back. Grown-ups often remarked how well-behaved Anna's big sister was, but they didn't know Elsa the way Anna did. Underneath the polite and poised exterior was a mischievous sense of fun. All Elsa needed was an excuse, and Anna was happy to be just that, Elsa's excuse to slip into her cloak and sneak out of the castle to build a snowman and play hide and find under the northern lights. Which was exactly what they were doing now. Elsa had already found Anna in a tree's hollow, but Anna had been looking for Elsa for what seemed like forever, or at least 5 minutes. The leaves rustled again, and Anna clapped her hands over her mouth to stop a giggle from escaping. Yes, there was definitely someone watching her from the snow-covered thicket. Holding her breath, she stepped closer. She was pretty sure it was Elsa, but there was always a chance it could be a Huldrefolk, one of the rumored hidden people who dwelled in the streams, under the rocks, and in the bedtime stories told by their mother, Queen Iduna. Anna's heart beat faster. If it was a Huldrefolk, she just had to see their tail. She'd always wondered if their tails were flowing like a horse's, or bushy like a fox's, or long and skinny like a mouse's. But Anna had a feeling she knew who the figure hiding behind the bush was. Anna parted the leaves, and in the colorful glow of the dancing sky, she caught a glimpse of blonde hair. So, not a Huldrefolk. Just a sister. Laughing, Anna shook the bush. I found you. Your turn to be the crusty troll. Elsa didn't respond. I said, I found you. Anna peered through the foliage. It's my turn to hide, that's the rule. Come on out. Anna's sister turned her head, and that's when Anna realized her mistake. It wasn't blonde hair she had spotted in the shifting light. It was white fur. Anna's scream stuck in her throat as a giant white wolf prowled out from the thicket with unusual grace, its long limbs uncurling like smoke. Its fierce yellow gaze fixed on her, and Anna's eyes ran down its huge, horse-sized body to see 4 fearsome paws, each the size of one of the large shields of her father, King Agnar. But that wasn't the worst of it. No, the worst was the red-stained fur around its claws and jaw. Red. The color of blood. What had happened to her sister? Elsa? Anna screamed. Where are you? The wolf leapt. Anna ran. Her heart slammed in her chest, each breath a sharp knife as she tried to run faster, and faster, but she knew she couldn't outrun a wolf. Spotting a fallen log, she dove behind it, her knees tucked to her chest as she tried to make herself as small as possible. Though her lungs ached for air, Anna held her breath, not wanting to give herself away with even the tiniest exhale. 1 second passed, then another, and another. Had she lost the wolf? Snow fell thick and silent. Anna shivered, wishing she'd listened to Elsa when she'd told her not to wear her most beautiful green cloak but to put on her everyday thick woolly brown one instead. Elsa. Where was Elsa? As quiet as a shadow, Anna peered around the log, half expecting to come nose to snout with the wolf. Instead, all she saw was an army of trees casting ghastly shadows onto the snow-covered ground. And as the wind picked up, so did Anna's ice-cold fear. If she walked through the fresh snow, the wolf would be able to see exactly which direction she'd gone. And if she didn't walk through the snow, she might never find her sister. Red on white. Blood on fur. Anna couldn't stay behind the log forever. Peeling off her cloak, she arranged it on the ground, bunching it into the shape of a 5-year-old girl taking a nap. Then she moved into a crouching position. So far, so good. She took a slow, steady step backward. And then another, and another, carefully weaving her way in reverse between the trees, the same way the Huldra folk in her mother's bedtime stories were said to travel so they could keep their tails hidden. But Anna didn't have a tail to hide. Instead, she was leaving a fresh trail of footprints in the snow, footprints that would always lead away from where she actually was. Elsa, she whispered, you've won hide and find. Please come out. But still there was no reply. The snow fell faster, so Anna moved faster, darting between trees, diving behind boulders, and all the while scanning the snowy woods for a sign of her sister, any sign. But there was not a footprint to be seen. It was as though her sister had been erased. As though, but the thought was too horrible for Anna to finish. From somewhere nearby, the wolf howled. Anna froze. She knew that sound. It was the same sound her father's hunting dogs made when they'd picked up the scent of a fox. The wolf howled again, but this time it was a little farther away. Anna's decoy had worked. She spun around and ran. The snow fell faster, the thick flakes clumping on her eyelashes and making it hard to see. Elsa. The name ripped from her throat. Elsa. She choked on the word. There, standing in front of her, wasn't her sister, but the wolf. Once more, its fierce yellow eyes were fixed right on her. How had it gotten ahead of her? There was no time to think, only to run. Anna pumped her legs, sending snow flying up around her. She couldn't stop. Her entire world was snow and fear and cold, and then suddenly endless sky. Anna stumbled to a halt. She was at the edge of a cliff. An inky expanse of nothingness lay before her, but she knew whatever she found lurking behind her would be far worse. Hot breath. Sharp claws. Sharper teeth. Elsa, she yelled again. But Elsa did not appear. If her sister wasn't here by now, something horrible must have happened. Pain seared itself across Anna's shoulder blades. She had hesitated for too long. The wolf's claws had connected with her back. Anna stumbled forward. She plunged over the edge and woke up. A cool, comforting hand was on her forehead, and as she blinked, Anna saw her mother's face sharpen into focus. The Queen's blue-grey eyes shone with concern, and her chestnut-brown hair cascaded down one shoulder, loose from its usual upsweep of braids and bangs. A large burgundy scarf, stitched with a multitude of snowflakes and complete with purple fringe, had been thrown over her shoulders and was covering up a lavender nightgown. Anna shot up. "Where's Elsa? Did the wolf get her?" "Anna, it's all right." Her mother sat and wrapped an arm around her. "All is well." "There was snow," Anna said, her heart still pounding. "And trees. I was running, and then I slipped." She struggled to sit up against her pillows. Elsa was there, and then she wasn't. "I was so worried." Her father strode forward with a tray bearing mugs of hot chocolate. "You had a bad dream," he said. His ruddy blonde hair, usually brushed back neatly, was tousled, as if he'd just come in from a midnight ride. For some reason, he was wearing his navy blue uniform resplendent with badges and golden epaulets instead of a nightshirt. Bending, he placed the tray on the bedside table. "Elsa is in her room, asleep, as we all should be at this hour." But that didn't seem quite right. The last thing Anna remembered was being awake in this same bed, watching the dancing sky through her window, wanting to wake Elsa up to do something. "Be you." "What?" Anna squinted her eyes, trying to remember through the pounding in her head. Odd. That's all she could remember. The only thing after that was the outline of her nightmare, a mountain, a wolf, and bitter cold. Her father settled next to her mother and handed a warm mug to Anna. "Drink up," he said. The steam uncurled from the mug, moving with the same effortless grace as the wolf. Anna shivered, still a bit shaken, but she had never said no to hot chocolate. She took a sip, and as the liquid slipped down to her belly, it warmed her stomach. Her mother patted her knee. "You know, when I have a bad dream, I always imagine crumpling up the nightmare and tossing it out the window so that Frigg has something else to fish for besides the moon and the sun. You remember the old story I used to tell you about Frigg the fisherman, right?" Anna did, but she shook her head. She wanted her mother to keep talking. She leaned back as her mother began the tale of the boastful fisherman who kept casting his nets for bigger prizes and accidentally found himself stuck in a nighttime ocean of stars. Anna soaked in the comforting presence of her mother, who always smelled like calming lavender. The memory of the nightmare faded, replaced by what was real, her cozy bedroom decorated with pink wallpaper, thick ornate rugs, an oval painting of Arundel Castle that she loved to admire, a tapestry of queens, and flickering candles in the sconces on the walls. Though no flames burned in the fireplace, a few embers still glowed like dropped jewels. and her parents there beside her were the coziest details of all. Anna's eyes grew heavy. Feeling better, her father whispered when her mother finished her tale. Anna nodded, and he smiled. "Everything is always better with hot chocolate," he said. "We should wake Ilse up." Anna's eyes fluttered as she held up her empty mug. She'd like this. She almost missed her mother and father exchange a fleeting glance at her words. There was a shift in the room, as if a cloud had drifted past the window. "Elsa needs her sleep," her mother said. "And you should try to get some rest, too. Agna, can you please hand me that extra pillow?" Anna's father stood and walked over to the white painted chair that had been dragged from its place by the wall and now stood between Anna and the fireplace. Another pillow and a crumpled pile of blankets lay on the floor around it, as if it were a makeshift bed. Anna looked from the floor to her parents. They only stayed in her room if she was really ill. "Were you sleeping in here?" Anna asked. "Am I sick?" "You're just fine," her father said with a soft smile. Picking up the pillow, he placed it under Anna's head while her mother tucked the blankets tight. Anna wiggled her toes to loosen the covers just a bit as her parents extinguished the lights and headed for the door. "Sweet dreams, Anna," her mother whispered from the doorway, the light from the hallway outlining her and Anna's father. "Sweet dreams," Anna murmured back, sinking deeper into her pillow. The patch of light grew smaller and smaller, until, at last, it vanished as the door clicked shut. Anna listened to the sound of her parents' footsteps recede before she turned her cheek to stare out her window. The sky was asleep now, the ribbons of color from the northern lights tucked beneath a patchwork quilt of clouds. But the moon stayed bright. It glared down at her like one of the wolf's yellow eyes. Watching. And waiting. But for what? Cold again, Anna pulled the covers over her head, but sleep never came.